Hi friends, welcome back to our English learning channel. I am Sarah and I am very happy to see you again today. Thank you for spending your time with me. Today we will do a very special listening practice together. This lesson is designed to be fun, helpful, and easy for everyone to follow. We will listen to English slowly, learn new words, and practice speaking in a calm and friendly way. Before we begin, please find a comfortable place. Sit down, relax your body, and take a deep breath. You do not need to hurry. This lesson is not about being perfect. It is about enjoying English and feeling more confident. Today is a day to listen, understand, and enjoy simple English step by step. Before we start, I want you to promise yourself something important. Please do not worry if you do not understand every word. That is completely okay. Listening is like training your brain. When you listen again and again, your brain becomes stronger and English becomes easier. Every time you listen, you are improving, even if you do not notice it right away. Here is some good news. You are not alone in this journey. I am here with you. I will speak slowly. I will repeat important words, and I will explain new ideas clearly. This listening practice is made especially for beginners and for anyone who wants to improve English little by little. There is no pressure. There is no stress. Just relax and listen. Today you will hear simple stories, natural conversations, and friendly dialogues. I will talk to you like a friend. When we learn a new word, I will explain it carefully. Sometimes I will ask you an easy question. I will pause for a moment so you can think. Then I will give you the answer. This will help you practice listening and checking your understanding at the same time. Before we continue, let me give you a helpful tip. Sometimes, try listening with your eyes closed. When your eyes are closed, your brain can focus better on the sounds. This can make English easier to understand. Another helpful tip is to repeat what you hear. This is called shadowing. Shadowing means you repeat after me slowly, word by word. When you practice like this, your speaking skills will improve a lot. Now, are you ready? Great. Let us begin our English journey with this simple story. Please listen carefully and try to imagine everything in your mind. Imagine the people, the places, and the feelings. This is a very important skill when learning English. When you imagine the story, it becomes easier to remember new words and expressions. Our story today is about a young woman named Emily. Emily is learning English, just like many of us. She wants to speak English well, but sometimes she feels nervous. You may feel the same way, and that is okay. Today, you will listen to Emily's day. You will hear about her small challenges and her happy moments. The sentences are simple and many words are repeated so you can learn easily. One sunny morning, Emily woke up very early. Soft sunlight came through her window. She smiled and said to herself, "Today will be a good day. I will practice English and I will learn something new." She got out of bed, stretched her arms, and walked into the kitchen. Her cat, Milo, was sitting near the window. Milo looked at her and meowed loudly, as if he was saying, "Good morning." Emily laughed and said, "Good morning, Milo. Are you ready for a fun day?" Milo moved his tail and looked happy. After eating a healthy breakfast, Emily decided to go for a short walk in her neighborhood. Walking is her favorite way to practice English. When she walks, she listens to English podcasts and repeats new words out loud. Today, she chose a podcast about meeting new people in English. She put on her headphones and listened carefully. The podcast said, "Hello. Today we will learn simple ways to introduce yourself in English." Let's start with an easy sentence. "Hello, my name is Emily. I am happy to meet you." Repeat after me. Emily repeated slowly and clearly, "Hello, my name is Emily. I am happy to meet you." She smiled and said to herself, "Good. I am learning step by step." While walking in the park, Emily saw her friend Anna sitting on a bench. Anna waved her hand. Emily walked closer and said, Hi, Anna. How are you today? Anna smiled and replied, Hi, Emily. I'm good, thank you. And you? Emily felt happy and confident. She said, I'm happy too. I am learning English every day. Anna looked surprised and said, Wow, that's great. I want to learn English too. Emily and Anna sat together on the bench and started talking. Emily used simple words and spoke slowly. She said, Today I woke up early. The sun is shining. I had breakfast and now I am walking. I listened to an English podcast. It is fun. Anna listened carefully and repeated some words. Shining. Breakfast. Podcast. I like these words, she said. Emily laughed and said, Yes, you can practice too. After a few minutes, they saw a small dog running in the park. The dog was playful. He jumped and barked happily. Emily said, Look, Anna. The dog is very happy. He is running fast. Anna smiled and said, Yes, he looks funny. I like him. Emily nodded and said slowly, Animals are nice. They make us happy. They continued walking and soon noticed a small coffee shop. Emily said, Anna, do you want to drink coffee? Anna replied, Yes, I like coffee. They went inside the coffee shop. Emily walked to the counter. The man there said, Hello. What would you like? Emily spoke slowly and clearly, Hello. I would like a coffee and a sandwich, please. The man smiled and said, Sure. Anything else? Emily answered, No, thank you. While they were waiting, Emily asked, Anna, do you like learning English? Anna said, Yes, but sometimes I feel nervous. Emily smiled kindly and said, That's normal. I feel nervous too sometimes. But listening slowly and repeating helps me a lot. Anna nodded and said, Really? I want to try. Emily smiled and said, Okay. Let's practice together. After getting their coffee, Emily and Anna sat near the window. Warm sunlight came inside, and the cafe felt calm and quiet. Emily smiled and asked Anna, Can we practice introducing ourselves in English? Emily spoke slowly and clearly. Hello, my name is Anna. I am happy to meet you. Repeat after me. Anna listened carefully and repeated, Hello, my name is Anna. I am happy to meet you. She spoke slowly and tried her best. Emily smiled brightly and clapped her hands softly. Very good, Anna. You are speaking English now. Time passed quickly. When they looked outside, the sun was higher in the sky. Emily said, Anna, it is time for me to go home, but I am very happy we practiced English today. Anna nodded and said, Me too. I will practice more every day. They both smiled, stood up, and waved goodbye to each other. Emily walked home slowly. As she walked, she thought about the morning. She felt proud of herself. She said quietly, I am learning English step by step. Every day, I will listen, repeat, and practice. When Emily arrived home, she took out her notebook and a pen. She liked writing new words because it helped her remember them. She wrote down the words she learned today: shining, breakfast, podcast, nervous, happy, practice. She read each word aloud slowly and repeated each one 2 times. Then she wrote simple sentences using the new words. Emily knew that writing and speaking together helped the brain remember better. After that, Emily sat on her sofa and relaxed. She thought about her day and smiled. Today was a good day, she said. I listened, I spoke, I practiced, and I learned new words. Tomorrow, I will do the same. I will become better step by step. Now, my friends, let us pause here for a moment. Did you notice some new words? Let us review them slowly together. The word shining means bright and full of light. Repeat after me, shining. Good. Breakfast is the first meal in the morning. Repeat, breakfast. Very good. A podcast is an audio show that you can listen to. Repeat, podcast. Excellent. Nervous means feeling a little afraid or worried. Repeat, nervous. Good job. Happy means feeling good and smiling. Repeat, happy. Nice. Practice means doing something again and again to get better. Repeat, practice. Excellent work. Now let us check your understanding. Why was Emily happy in the morning? Pause and think. Yes, that's right. She listened to a podcast, went for a walk, and met her friend Anna. What did Emily and Anna practice together? Pause again. Correct. They practiced introducing themselves in English. Can you repeat one sentence they used? Hello, my name is _____. I am happy to meet you. Perfect. We followed Emily on her sunny morning walk. She met her friend, practiced English, and learned new words like shining, breakfast, podcast, nervous, happy, and practice. You did a great job listening. Now let us see what happens next. In the afternoon, Emily faces a small challenge. She wants to speak English with someone she does not know. This can feel scary, but Emily will show us how to stay calm and use simple English. In the afternoon, Emily decided to go to the local library. She loves the library because it is quiet and peaceful, and she can read English books there. She put on her backpack, took her notebook, and walked to the library. The streets were busy. People were walking, children were playing, and cars were passing by. Emily smiled and thought, I am ready for today. I want to speak more English and learn new words. When Emily entered the library, she saw many people sitting and reading. The room was quiet. She walked slowly to the desk where the librarian was standing. The librarian smiled and said, Hello, can I help you? Emily felt a little nervous. Her heart started beating faster. But she remembered her practice. She took a deep breath and spoke slowly. Hello, my name is Emily. I want to find books in English. Can you help me, please? The librarian nodded kindly and said, Of course. We have many books in English. Are you looking for storybooks, learning books, or something else? Emily thought for a moment and said, I want storybooks. I like stories. I want to read and learn English. The librarian smiled and walked with Emily to a shelf full of colorful books. Emily looked at the book titles carefully. Some words were new, but she read slowly and did not rush. One book was called The Adventure of Lucy and Max. Another book was called My First English Stories. Emily smiled and said, I will take these books, please. The librarian checked the books and said, You can borrow them for 2 weeks. Enjoy reading. Emily smiled and replied, Thank you very much. She walked to a small table near the window and opened the first book. The story was about a little girl named Lucy who finds a small lost puppy. Emily reads slowly and clearly. Lucy saw a small puppy. The puppy was alone. Lucy wanted to help him. Emily repeated the sentences aloud, slowly and carefully. She was practicing pronunciation and building confidence, one word at a time. After a few minutes, a boy about Emily's age walked over to her table. He smiled kindly and said, Hi, are you reading in English? Emily looked up from her book and smiled back. She said slowly, Yes. My name is Emily. I am learning English. The boy nodded and said, Nice to meet you. My name is Jack. I like reading too. Can we read together? Emily felt a little nervous. She was not sure if her English was good enough. But then she remembered something important. It is okay to make mistakes. Learning means trying. So she nodded and said, Yes, let's read together. Emily and Jack began reading the story slowly. They took turns reading one sentence at a time. Emily read, Lucy saw a small puppy. Then Jack read, The puppy was alone. They smiled at each other and continued reading. Emily noticed something important. When she listened carefully, she understood the story better. Sometimes she did not know a word, but she tried to guess the meaning by looking at the story and pictures. She did not stop. She kept going. After reading a few pages, Jack asked, "Emily, what does the word alone mean?" Emily thought for a moment and then said slowly, "Alone means by yourself. Not with anyone. Alone." She said, "Repeat after me. Alone." Jack repeated, "Alone." Emily smiled and said, "Good. Yes, it means by yourself." Lucy was alone. They continued reading. Then the story said, Lucy gave the puppy some water. The puppy was happy. Emily paused and explained, "Water is the thing we drink." She said, "Repeat. Water." Jack repeated, "Water." Emily smiled and said, "Good." Jack laughed and said, "Puppies like water." I like this story. Emily smiled too. She felt more relaxed now. After some time, Emily noticed something wonderful. She was speaking more easily. She could ask questions, answer questions, and explain words. She said quietly to herself, "Wow, I can do this. I am learning step by step." Then Jack said, "Emily, do you want to play a small game with English words?" Emily felt curious and asked, "Yes." "What game?" Jack explained, "I will say a word in English, and you tell me the meaning. Then you say a word, and I tell the meaning. It is fun." Emily smiled and said, "Okay. Let's play." Jack started and said, "Happy." Emily replied, "Happy means a good feeling. When you smile." She added, "Repeat." "Happy." Jack nodded and said, "Happy." Jack smiled and said, "Very good. Now you say a word." Emily thought for a moment and said, "Alone." Jack replied, "Alone means by yourself." He smiled and said, "Okay, I remember." They both laughed. This simple game helped Emily remember words more easily. Learning felt fun, not scary. After a while, Emily looked at the time. It was almost time to go home. She felt proud of herself. Speaking English with someone new did not feel scary anymore. She said, "Jack, thank you. I learned many words today. You helped me feel confident." Jack smiled and said, "You're welcome, Emily. Keep practicing. You are good." Emily waved goodbye and walked home slowly. On her way home, she thought about her day. She said to herself, "Today I met someone new. I practiced English and I learned many words. I was nervous, but I did it. Step by step, I will become better." When Emily reached home, she opened her notebook and wrote new words: alone, water, happy, story, puppy, game. She read each word aloud slowly. Then she wrote simple sentences. Lucy was alone. The puppy drank water. Emily felt happy. I like the game. These sentences helped her remember the words better. Now, my friends, let us pause and review some new words together. Alone means by yourself. Repeat, alone. Water is the thing we drink. Repeat, water. A story is a tale or a small book with events. Repeat, story. A puppy is a small dog. Repeat, puppy. A game is an activity for fun. Repeat, game. Very good. You're learning fast. Now let us check your understanding. Who helped Emily in the library? Pause and think. Yes, Jack. The boy who liked reading. What game did they play? Pause. Correct. They played a word game and asked each other meanings. Why was Emily nervous at first? Pause. Right. She was speaking with someone new and was not sure about her English. Before we finish this part, here is an important tip. Meeting new people in English can feel scary, but it is one of the best ways to improve. Start with simple words and short sentences. Ask questions. Repeat new words. Smile and stay positive. Making mistakes is okay. Mistakes help you learn. Today, Emily spoke with someone new, practiced reading, learned new words, and played a simple English game. She faced her nervous feeling and succeeded because she stayed calm and practiced step by step. You can do the same. Now let us continue the story. After Emily left the library, she felt excited. She thought, I want to speak more English today. I can practice asking questions and buying things. She walked slowly down the street. The sun was still shining softly and the air felt fresh. Soon, she saw a small bakery. She could see bread and cakes in the window. The smell was very nice. Emily smiled and decided to go inside. When Emily entered the bakery, the woman behind the counter smiled and said, "Hello. Welcome. How can I help you?" Emily felt a little nervous, but she remembered her practice. She took a deep breath and said slowly, "Hello. My name is Emily. I want to buy some bread, please." The woman smiled and said, "Sure. We have fresh bread and sandwiches. What would you like?" Emily looked at the shelf. There were many kinds of bread: white bread, brown bread, and small rolls. Emily pointed and said, "I will take 1 white bread and 2 small rolls, please." The woman nodded and wrapped the bread carefully. Then she asked, "Do you want anything to drink?" Emily thought for a moment and said slowly, "Yes. 1 small orange juice, please." While the woman prepared the order, Emily noticed a little boy looking at the cakes. He said, "Mom, I want that chocolate cake." Emily smiled kindly and said slowly, "Hello. That cake looks yummy, doesn't it?" The little boy smiled and nodded his head. His mother laughed gently and said, "Yes, it looks very good." Emily felt warm and happy inside. She said quietly to herself, "I am speaking English in real life. I am really doing it." This made her feel proud and confident. The woman at the counter handed Emily the bread and the orange juice. Emily smiled and said politely, "Thank you very much." The woman replied, "You are welcome. Have a nice day." Emily answered, "You too," and walked outside with her bread and juice in her hands. She felt proud as she walked. Speaking English in a shop was a small challenge, but she spoke slowly, carefully, and politely. And she did it successfully. Now, my friends, let us look at some new words from this part of the story. A bakery is a place where bread and cakes are made and sold. Repeat after me, bakery. Delicious means very tasty. Repeat, delicious. Orange juice is juice made from oranges. Repeat, orange juice. White bread is soft bread that is light in color. Repeat, white bread. Rolls are small pieces of bread. Repeat, rolls. Very good. Now let us practice a short conversation together. I will say a sentence, and you repeat slowly after me. Hello. Welcome. How can I help you? Repeat. Good. I want to buy some bread, please. Repeat. Excellent. Do you want anything to drink? Repeat. Great job. Thank you very much. Repeat. Perfect. Now let us check your understanding. Who is in the bakery? Pause and think. Yes, Emily, the woman at the counter, a little boy, and his mother. What did Emily buy? Pause. Correct. 1 white bread, 2 small rolls, and 1 small orange juice. How did Emily feel? Pause. Right. She felt proud and happy because she used English carefully and politely. After leaving the bakery, Emily walked to a small park near the street. She found a bench and sat down. She wanted to enjoy her orange juice and review the English words she learned today. She said slowly, bakery, bread, rolls, juice, delicious. She repeated each word 2 times aloud. Speaking the words helped her remember them better. While Emily sat on the bench, she saw a woman walking her dog. The dog was small, fluffy, and very cute. Emily wanted to practice speaking again. She smiled and said slowly, "Hello. Your dog is very cute. What is his name?" The woman smiled and replied, "Hello. Thank you. His name is Toby. Emily repeated slowly, Toby. Toby is a good name. The woman asked, do you have a dog? Emily shook her head and said, no, but I like dogs very much. The woman smiled and said, that's nice. You speak English very well. Emily felt happy and said quietly to herself, yes, I am learning step by step. Then Emily noticed a small notice on a tree. It said, English Speaking Club every Saturday. Come and practice English. Emily stopped and looked at it carefully. She thought, wow, this is a good chance to speak more English. I should try it next week. She took out her notebook and wrote, English Club. Saturday. Practice English. She smiled and felt motivated. Now let us review some new words. Cute means nice and pretty. Repeat, cute. A name is what we call a person or an animal. Repeat, name. Fluffy means soft and full of fur. Repeat, fluffy. A notice is a small sign with information. Repeat, notice. A club is a group of people who meet for the same activity. Repeat, club. Excellent. Now let us practice a short dialogue. Hello, your dog is very cute. Repeat. Good. What is his name? Repeat. Great. I like dogs very much. Repeat. Excellent. Now a small comprehension check. What is the dog's name? Pause. Yes, Toby. Where did Emily see the notice? Pause. Correct. On a tree in the park. When is the English Speaking Club? Pause. Right. Every Saturday. Why did Emily write it in her notebook? Pause. Yes. She wanted to remember to practice English. Before we finish this part, here is an important tip. Using English in real life, like in a shop or park, is very helpful. Speak slowly. Smile. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Use short sentences. Be polite and patient. Step by step, you will feel more confident. Today, Emily used English in a bakery and in a park. She spoke politely, asked simple questions, and practiced with new people. You can do the same. Now let us continue the story. In the afternoon, Emily decided to go to the neighborhood market. Markets are great places to practice English because there are many people, many things to see, and many words to learn. Emily put on her backpack and walked slowly. The streets were full of small shops and colorful stalls. There were fruits, vegetables, toys, clothes, and many people shopping. Emily smiled and said quietly, this is a great place to practice English. I can ask questions and speak slowly. The first stall had many fresh fruits. The woman there smiled and said, hello. Would you like some fresh fruit? Emily felt a little nervous, but she smiled and said slowly, hello. Yes, please. Can I have some apples and bananas? The woman asked, how many apples and bananas do you want? Emily thought for a moment and said, 3 apples and 5 bananas, please. While the woman picked the fruit, Emily looked at the price signs. She remembered the words cost and price. She asked politely, how much does it cost? The woman replied, it costs $6. Emily smiled and said, thank you. Here is $6. The woman said, you are welcome. Have a nice day. Emily replied, thank you. You too. Emily felt proud. Speaking with numbers and money can be difficult, but she did it calmly. Next, Emily walked to a vegetable stall. There were tomatoes, carrots, onions, and green peppers. The man at the stall said, hello. Do you want fresh vegetables? Emily nodded and said slowly, hello. Yes. I want some tomatoes and carrots, please. The man asked, how many do you need? Emily answered, 4 tomatoes and 3 carrots, please. He wrapped the vegetables and said, that will be $5. Emily said, thank you very much. As Emily walked, she saw a small toy stall. There were dolls, balls, and puzzles. A little girl smiled and asked, do you like this ball? Emily smiled and said, "Yes, it is very nice." "How much is it?" The girl's mother replied, "It is $3." Emily smiled and said, "Thank you. Maybe next time." She laughed softly and continued walking. Now, friends, let us learn some new words from the market. Fruit is food like apples, bananas, or oranges. Repeat, fruit. Vegetables are foods like carrots, onions, or tomatoes. Repeat, vegetables. Repeat after me, vegetables. Good. A stall is a small table or shop where people sell things. Repeat, stall. Cost or price means how much money something needs. Repeat, cost, price. A toy is something children play with. Repeat, toy. Excellent work. Now let us practice a short conversation from Emily's shopping experience. I will say a sentence slowly, and you repeat after me. Hello. Would you like some fresh fruit? Repeat. Good. Can I have some apples and bananas? Repeat. Great. How much does it cost? Repeat. Excellent. Thank you very much. Repeat. Perfect. Emily continued walking through the market. She saw a small bakery stall with bread and pastries. She smiled and said slowly, "Hello. This bread looks delicious. How much is it?" The man smiled and said, "It is $2." Emily replied, "I will take one bread, please." The man wrapped it carefully and said, "Here you go." "Thank you." Emily smiled and said, "Thank you. Have a nice day." Emily felt happy. Using English in many different situations made her feel more confident. As she walked, Emily saw a woman selling flowers. The flowers were very colorful. There were red roses, yellow tulips, and pink lilies. Emily wanted to practice speaking again. She said slowly, "Hello. Your flowers are very beautiful. How much are the red roses?" The woman replied, "They are $5 each." Emily smiled and said, "Thank you. I like the yellow tulips too. How much are they?" The woman answered, "They are $3 each." Emily said slowly, "I will take 2 yellow tulips, please." She paid the money and said politely, "Thank you. Have a nice day." Now let us pause and review new words from this part of the story. Flowers are plants that are colorful and pretty. Repeat, flowers. A rose is a type of flower, often red. Repeat, rose. A tulip is another type of flower, often yellow or pink. Repeat, tulip. A lily is a flower, often white or pink. Repeat, lily. Money is used to buy things. Repeat, money. Excellent. Now let us do a listening practice. I will ask you some questions. Think about the answer. Then I will say the answer slowly. Question 1. How many apples did Emily buy? Pause. Answer, 3 apples. Question 2. What did Emily buy at the vegetable stall? Pause. Answer, tomatoes and carrots. Question 3. How much was the ball at the toy stall? Pause. Answer, $3. Question 4. Which flowers did Emily buy? Pause. Answer, 2 yellow tulips. Great job. Now, friends, here is a helpful tip. When you go to a market or shop, try to use English for everything. Ask about prices. Ask about products. Say thank you. Repeat new words quietly or aloud. Practicing English in real life helps you remember words faster. Speaking slowly and politely is very important. Before we finish this part, let us review what Emily did in the market. She bought fruit, vegetables, bread, and flowers. She asked about prices, counted money, and spoke politely. She used new words like fruit, vegetables, stall, cost, price, toy, flowers, rose, tulip, and lily. She spoke slowly and felt confident. You can do the same. Practice step by step. Repeat words. Check yourself. The more you listen and speak, the better you become. Now let us continue the story. After walking through the market, Emily felt hungry. She noticed a small cafe on the corner. The sign said Sunny Cafe. She smiled and thought, this is a good chance to practice English. Emily walked inside the cafe. It was cozy and warm. There were small tables. Some people were reading. Others were talking quietly. The smell of coffee and pastries was very nice. A friendly man behind the counter smiled and said, "Hello. Welcome to Sunny Cafe. How can I help you?" Emily felt a little nervous, but she remembered her practice. She smiled and said slowly, "Hello. My name is Emily. I would like to order some food, please." The man nodded and said, "Of course. Here is the menu. What would you like?" Emily looked at the menu carefully. There were many items: sandwiches, salads, coffee, tea, juice, and cakes. Emily wanted something light. She said slowly, "I would like a chicken sandwich and a cup of orange juice, please." The man asked, "Would you like this sandwich with salad or without?" Emily thought for a moment and said, "With salad, please." Then the man asked, "Do you want any sauce with your sandwich?" Emily smiled and said, "Yes, please. I would like some mayonnaise." The man nodded and asked, "Anything else?" Emily said, "No, thank you." The man smiled and said, "That will be $7. Emily took out her money and said slowly, "Here is $7. Thank you." The man handed her the food and said, "You are welcome. Enjoy your meal." Emily smiled and walked to a small table near the window. She sat down and looked around. She could hear people speaking English. She thought, this is a good place to practice listening. She took a small bite of her sandwich and a sip of orange juice. She smiled and said quietly to herself, "Chicken sandwich, salad, mayonnaise, orange juice. Delicious." Emily repeated each new word 2 times aloud so she could remember it better. Speaking out loud helped her feel more confident and calm. While she was eating, a woman sitting at a nearby table smiled kindly and said, "Hello. I like your sandwich. Is it good?" Emily smiled back and answered slowly and clearly, "Hello. Yes, it is very good. I like it." The woman then asked, "What are you drinking?" Emily replied politely, "It is orange juice. It is fresh and tasty." The woman nodded and said, "That sounds nice. I will try it next time." Emily felt happy inside. Speaking English with a new person did not feel scary anymore. She felt proud of herself. After finishing her food, Emily decided to order a small dessert. She walked back to the counter and said slowly and politely, "Hello, I would like 1 chocolate cake, please." The man nodded and said, "Sure. That will be $3. Emily paid the money and said, "Thank you very much." She walked back to her table, took a small bite of the cake, and said quietly to herself, "Chocolate cake. Sweet. Delicious." She smiled. Practicing English while enjoying food made learning more fun and enjoyable. Now, friends, let's learn some new words from Emily's Cafe story. A sandwich is food made with bread and something inside. Repeat, sandwich. A salad is a mixture of vegetables. Repeat, salad. Sauce is a liquid added to food to make it taste better. Repeat, sauce. Mayonnaise is a type of sauce. Repeat, mayonnaise. Dessert is a sweet food eaten after a meal. Repeat, dessert. Excellent. Now let's practice a short conversation from Emily's Cafe experience. I will say this sentence slowly, and you repeat after me. Hello, welcome to Sunny Cafe. How can I help you? Repeat. I would like a chicken sandwich and a cup of orange juice, please. Repeat. Do you want any sauce with your sandwich? Repeat. Thank you very much. Repeat. Perfect. While Emily enjoyed her meal, she noticed some new expressions. She said quietly to herself, "Enjoy your meal means have a good meal." Repeat. Enjoy your meal. Fresh means something is new and good. Repeat. fresh. Tasty means something is very good to eat. Repeat, tasty. Now, let's check your understanding. What did Emily order first? Pause. Answer, a chicken sandwich and orange juice. What sauce did she choose? Pause. Answer, mayonnaise. How much did the sandwich and juice cost? Pause. Answer, $7. What dessert did Emily order? Pause. Answer, chocolate cake. After finishing her dessert, Emily took out her notebook and wrote down new words. She wrote, sandwich, salad, sauce, mayonnaise, dessert, fresh, tasty, delicious, enjoy. Then she wrote simple sentences. I like chicken sandwich. Orange juice is fresh. Chocolate cake is delicious. Writing sentences helped her remember the words and practice speaking slowly. Emily looked around the cafe. Some people were reading books. Some were typing on laptops. Others were talking quietly. She thought, cafes are great places to practice English. I can listen, speak, and read. Step by step, I will improve. She smiled and felt motivated. Now, friends, here is a small tip. When you go to a cafe, practice English. Order food politely. Ask simple questions. Read the menu aloud. Repeat new words. Use English in real life. This makes learning natural and fun. Before we finish this part, let's review what Emily did in the cafe. She greeted the man politely. She ordered food and drinks. She asked questions about salad and sauce. She said thank you. She spoke with a woman at another table. She ordered dessert. She wrote new words in her notebook. She spoke slowly and clearly, and she felt confident. You can do the same. Today, we learned how to practice English in a cafe. We learned how to order food, ask questions politely, repeat new words, and write sentences to remember them. Emily practiced step by step, and she became more confident. Next, Emily went to a park. Parks are wonderful places to hear and practice English in real life. In the late afternoon, Emily walked to a nearby park. The sun was warm and gentle. The sky was blue with a few white clouds. Children were playing. People were jogging. Families were having small picnics. Emily smiled and said quietly, "This is a perfect place to practice English. I can listen, ask questions, and talk to people." As she walked along the path, she saw a small group of people sitting on a bench. They were talking and laughing. Emily felt a little nervous, but she reminded herself, that's okay. I can try slowly. She walked closer and said politely, "Hello, can I sit here?" A woman smiled and said, "Yes, of course. Have a seat." Emily sat down. The woman said, "My name is Linda." "What is your name?" Emily answered slowly, "Hello, my name is Emily. I am learning English." Linda smiled and said, "That's wonderful. I can help you practice." Emily nodded and said, "Yes, please. I want to speak English." Emily listened carefully as the group talked about simple things like the weather, pets, and hobbies. Linda asked, "What do you like to do in your free time, Emily?" Emily thought and said slowly, "I like reading English books. I also like walking in the park and listening to English podcasts." Linda said, "That's great. Reading and listening help a lot." A man asked, "Do you like sports, Emily?" Emily replied, "Yes. I like walking, jogging, and sometimes cycling. I want to learn more sports." The man smiled and said, "Sports are fun. They help you stay healthy." Emily repeated slowly, "Sports are fun. Sports help you stay healthy." A young girl asked, "Do you have a pet?" Emily smiled and said, "Yes. I have a cat. His name is Milo. He is small and playful." The girl said, "I have a dog. His name is Max." Emily said, "That is nice. Pets make people happy." The group smiled together. After some time, Emily decided to practice asking questions. She said slowly, "Linda, Can you tell me about your hobbies? Linda smiled and replied, I like gardening and reading books. Sometimes I walk in the park, just like you. Emily smiled happily and said, I like walking too. It is relaxing and fun. The group continued talking together. Emily listened very carefully. She tried to understand every sentence. When she heard a new word, she repeated it slowly in her mind. She knew this was a good way to learn. Now, friends, let's learn some new words from Emily's park story. A pet is an animal you keep at home. Repeat, pet. Playful means active and likes to play. Repeat, playful. A hobby is something you enjoy doing in your free time. Repeat, hobby. Relaxing means something that makes you feel calm and comfortable. Repeat, relaxing. Healthy means good for your body. Repeat, healthy. Excellent. Now let's practice a short conversation from Emily's park experience. I will say this sentence slowly, and you repeat after me. Hello, can I sit here? Repeat. My name is Emily. I am learning English. Repeat. I like walking in the park and listening to English podcasts. Repeat. Pets are very friendly. They make people happy. Repeat. Perfect. Emily spent a long time in the park talking and listening. She asked simple questions. She answered questions slowly. She repeated new words again and again. She realized something important. Listening carefully helped her understand more. Even when she did not understand every word, she tried to guess the meaning from the conversation. This is a very important skill for learning English. Now, let's check your understanding. Who did Emily meet in the park? Pause. Answer. Linda, a man, and a young girl. What did Emily talk about with them? Pause. Answer. The weather, pets, hobbies, and sports. What is the name of Emily's cat? Pause. Answer. Milo. What new words did Emily learn? Pause. Answer. Pet, playful, hobby, relaxing, healthy. After talking with the group, Emily decided to walk around the park by herself. She wanted to observe more and practice English. She saw children playing on swings. She saw people jogging on the path. She saw birds flying in the sky. She said slowly, swing, jog, bird, flying, park, relaxing. She repeated each word aloud to practice her pronunciation. Then she wrote the words in her notebook so she could review them later. While walking, Emily saw a small ice cream cart. The man at the cart smiled and said, Hello. Would you like some ice cream? Emily smiled and replied slowly and politely, Hello. Yes, please. Can I have one chocolate ice cream? The man nodded and said, Of course. That will be $2. Emily gave him the money and said, Thank you very much. She walked to a bench, sat down, and enjoyed her ice cream. She said quietly, Ice cream. Chocolate. Sweet. Delicious. Now, friends, let's learn some new words from the ice cream scene. A swing is a seat that moves back and forth. Repeat, swing. To jog means to run slowly. Repeat, jog. A bird is an animal that can fly. Repeat, bird. Flying means moving in the air. Repeat, flying. Ice cream is a sweet and cold food. Repeat, ice cream. Excellent. Before we finish this part, let's summarize. Emily practiced English in the park by talking with new people, asking and answering questions, listening carefully, and repeating new words. She learned words about pets, hobbies, sports, and nature. She also practiced ordering ice cream politely. Step by step, Emily became more confident using English in real life. Here is a small tip for you, friends. Parks are great places to practice English. You can talk with people, describe what you see, ask simple questions, and repeat words slowly. Always smile and speak politely. Even short conversations help improve your English. Next, Emily decided to join a small English club. English clubs are wonderful places to practice because you can listen, repeat, and speak in a friendly environment. In the early evening, Emily walked to a small community center. A sign on the door said, English Speaking Club, every Saturday, 5 p.m. Emily smiled and thought, today I will speak English with more people. I will listen carefully and try my best. She opened the door and saw a small room. Chairs were placed in a circle. 6 people were sitting and waiting. A friendly woman smiled and said, hello. Welcome to the English Club. Please have a seat. Emily smiled and said slowly, hello. My name is Emily. I am learning English. The woman replied, nice to meet you, Emily. My name is Sarah. Today, we will practice English together. First, we will listen to a short story. Then we will talk and ask questions. Are you ready? Emily nodded and said, yes, I am ready. She felt a little nervous, but also excited. She thought, I can do this step by step. I will listen carefully and repeat slowly. Sarah began the story. She spoke slowly and clearly. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Tom. Tom loved animals. Every morning, he walked to the forest near his house. He watched birds, rabbits, and squirrels. He wanted to help animals and learn about them. Emily listened carefully. Some words were new, but she tried to understand from the story. She repeated quietly in her mind, forest, rabbit, squirrel, help. Sarah continued the story. One day, Tom found a small bird with a broken wing. He felt sad and wanted to help the bird. He carefully picked up the bird and took it home. He made a small bed for the bird. He gave it water and food. Slowly, the bird became strong again and could fly. Emily smiled and repeated slowly, bird, broken wing, pick up, bed, water, food, fly, happy. She also wrote the words in her notebook. She thought, repeating words slowly helps me remember. Listening carefully helps me understand. After the story, Sarah asked kindly, Emily, can you tell me what happened in the story? Emily thought for a moment and then answered slowly, Tom found a bird with a broken wing. He helped the bird. The bird became strong and could fly. Tom was happy. Sarah smiled and said, excellent. Very good listening and speaking, Sarah said kindly. Emily smiled and felt proud of herself. Hearing these words made her feel more confident. Then Sarah looked at the group and asked, what new words did you learn today? Emily raised her hand slowly and said, I learned these words, forest, rabbits, squirrels, broken wing, bed, water, food, and fly. Sarah smiled and said, very good. Now, let's repeat the words together. The whole group repeated slowly and clearly, forest, rabbits, squirrels, broken wing, bed, water, food, fly. Emily smiled again. Repeating together helped her remember the words better. Next, Sarah said, now let's practice a short dialogue from the story. I will say a sentence and you repeat slowly. Emily nodded and smiled. Tom found a small bird with a broken wing. Repeat. Tom found a small bird with a broken wing. Good, Sarah said. He carefully picked up the bird and took it home. Repeat. He carefully picked up the bird and took it home. Excellent. The bird became strong again and could fly. Repeat. The bird became strong again and could fly. Great. Tom was happy. Repeat. Tom was happy. Perfect, Sarah said. After the dialogue practice, Sarah asked the group to talk about animals. She said, now, can you tell a short story or experience about an animal you know? Emily thought for a moment. Then she spoke slowly and clearly, I have a cat. His name is Milo. He is small and playful. He likes to eat and sleep. He makes me happy every day. The group smiled and said, "Very good, Emily. You speak clearly and slowly." Emily felt very happy. Then another student spoke and said, "I have a dog. His name is Max. He likes running and playing with me." Emily listened carefully. In her mind, she repeated the new words slowly. Dog. Running. Playing. She realized something important. Listening to other people helps her learn new words naturally. Next, Sarah gave the group a small exercise. She said, "Now we will ask each other questions about animals." One person asks and another person answers. Please use full sentences. Speak slowly and clearly. Emily felt a little nervous, but she was also excited. The first person asked her, "Do you have a pet?" Emily replied slowly, "Yes, I have a cat. His name is Milo." Another person asked, "What is your cat like?" Emily answered, "He likes to eat, sleep, and play." The group clapped their hands and said, "Very good. Excellent practice." Emily smiled. She felt more confident than before. Now, friends, let's learn some new words from the English Club story. A forest is a large area with many trees. Repeat, forest. A rabbit is a small animal with long ears. Repeat, rabbit. A squirrel is a small animal with a bushy tail. Repeat, squirrel. A wing is the part of a bird that helps it fly. Repeat, wing. Pick up means to lift something carefully. Repeat, pick up. Excellent. Now let's practice some sentences together. I will say a sentence slowly, and you repeat. Tom found a small bird with a broken wing. Repeat. He carefully picked up the bird and took it home. Repeat. The bird became strong again and could fly. Repeat. Tom was happy. Repeat. Perfect. Now, let's check your understanding. Who did Tom find in the forest? Pause. Answer, a small bird. What was wrong with the bird? Pause. Answer, it had a broken wing. What did Tom give the bird? Pause. Answer, water and food, and he made a small bed. Could the bird fly again? Pause. Answer, yes, after Tom helped it. After the English club meeting, Emily felt very happy. She said quietly to herself, "Today I listened to a story. I repeated sentences. I asked and answered questions. I spoke with new people. Step by step, I am improving my English." She took out her notebook and wrote the new words: forest, rabbit, squirrel, wing, pick up, bed, water, food, fly, happy. She repeated each word aloud slowly. Now, friends, here is a tip. Joining an English club or conversation group is very helpful. You can listen carefully, repeat sentences, speak slowly, ask questions, and learn new words. Practicing in a friendly group helps build confidence and makes learning English natural and fun. After the club, Emily decided to go shopping for clothes. Shopping is a great way to practice English because you can ask questions, talk about sizes and colors, and use numbers. In the late afternoon, Emily walked to a small clothing store near the park. The shop had colorful shirts, pants, dresses, and jackets. Emily smiled and said quietly to herself, "This is a good place to practice English. I can ask questions and speak slowly and politely." She opened the door. A friendly woman was arranging clothes. The woman smiled and said, "Hello, welcome to our store. Can I help you?" Emily felt a little nervous, but she remembered her practice. She smiled and said slowly, "Hello. My name is Emily. I want to buy some clothes, please." The woman nodded and said, "Of course. What are you looking for?" Emily looked at a blue shirt and said slowly, "I like this blue shirt. Can I try it?" The woman smiled and said, "Yes, the fitting room is over there." Emily went to the fitting room and tried the shirt. She looked in the mirror and said quietly, "The blue shirt fits well. I like it." She smiled and thought, Speaking slowly helps me feel confident. Emily went back to the counter and said, "Hello. I like this shirt. How much is it?" The woman replied, "It costs $15. Emily nodded and said, "Thank you. I will take it." She gave the money and said politely, "Here is $15. Thank you very much." The woman handed her the shirt and said, "You are welcome. Have a nice day." Emily walked out of the store feeling proud. Then Emily noticed some pants on display. She wanted to practice asking about sizes. She walked back inside and said slowly, "Hello. Can you tell me about these pants? I am not sure about the size." The woman replied, "Sure. These pants come in small, medium, and large. What size do you usually wear?" Emily thought for a moment and said, "I usually wear small." The woman nodded and said, "Great. You can try the small size in the fitting room." Emily tried the pants and said quietly, "Small fits comfortably." "Good." She went back to the counter and asked, "How much are the pants?" The woman answered, "They are $20. Emily smiled and said, "Thank you. I will take them." Emily gave the money to the woman and said slowly, "Thank you very much. You are very kind." The woman smiled and replied, "You are welcome." Emily walked around the store and looked at the clothes. She saw many beautiful and colorful scarves. She wanted to practice English more, so she decided to ask about colors. She picked up a red scarf and spoke slowly and clearly, "Hello. I like this scarf. Do you have it in green or yellow?" The woman answered kindly, "Yes, we have green and yellow scarves. Which color do you prefer?" Emily smiled. She felt happy because she understood the question. She said slowly, "I will take the green one, please." She paid for the scarf and said again, "Thank you very much." The woman smiled and nodded. After shopping, Emily sat on a small bench outside the store. She wanted to remember the new words. She said quietly to herself, "Shirt, pants, scarf, small, medium, large, green, price." She repeated the words again and again. Then she took out her notebook and wrote the new words. Emily knew that repeating and writing helps her remember better. Emily thought to herself, "Shopping is a good way to practice English. I can ask questions. I can talk about colors, sizes, and prices. I can say thank you politely. Step by step, I am getting better." She smiled and felt proud. Later that day, Emily decided to go to a small cafe. The weather was sunny, and the smell of coffee and fresh bread filled the air. Emily thought, "This is a good chance to practice English with my friend." When she entered the cafe, she saw her friend Anna sitting near the window. Anna waved and said, "Hi, Emily. Come and sit with me." Emily smiled and replied slowly, "Hi, Anna. It is nice to see you." They sat together, and soon the waiter came. He asked, "Hello. What would you like to drink?" Emily looked at the menu carefully and said slowly, "I would like a cup of tea, please." Anna said, "I would like a coffee, please." The waiter nodded and asked, "Would you like something to eat?" Emily thought for a moment and answered, "I would like a small sandwich, please." Anna said, "I will have a piece of cake, please." The waiter smiled and said, "Thank you. I will bring your order soon." While waiting, Anna asked Emily, "What do you usually do in the morning?" Emily answered slowly and clearly, "I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. I eat breakfast, read a book, and listen to English podcasts." Anna smiled and said, "That is very good. Listening to podcasts helps a lot." Emily repeated slowly, "Listening to podcasts helps a lot." Anna asked another question, "Do you exercise in the morning?" Emily replied, "Yes. Sometimes I walk in the park for 20 minutes. It is relaxing and makes me happy." Anna nodded and said, "Walking is very good. I like walking too." Soon, the waiter brought their drinks and food. Emily said politely, "Thank you very much." The waiter answered, "You are welcome." Enjoy your meal. Emily looked at her sandwich and said quietly, sandwich. Small. Tasty. She took a bite and smiled. Emily felt happy and confident. She thought, talking with friends helps me practice English. Using simple sentences is okay. Step by step, I am improving every day. Emily sat with her friend Anna at the cafe. She listened carefully and repeated new words in her mind. New words. Afternoon. The part of the day after lunch. Repeat. Afternoon. Exercise. Physical activity to keep the body healthy. Repeat. Exercise. Relaxing. Something that makes you calm and comfortable. Repeat. Relaxing. Podcast. An audio program you can listen to. Repeat. Podcast. Next, Emily and Anna practice talking. The teacher says a sentence slowly and you repeat. Conversation practice. Waiter, what would you like to drink? Emily, I would like a cup of tea, please. Waiter, what would you like to eat? Emily, I would like a small sandwich, please. Anna, do you like reading books in English? Emily, yes, I like reading English books. I read short stories or simple news articles sometimes. Emily, Anna, do you watch English movies? Anna, yes, I watch movies with subtitles. It helps me listen and understand English. Emily, watching movies helps listening and learning words. Speaking slowly and repeating new words helped Emily feel confident. Comprehension check. What did Emily drink? Tea. What did she eat? A small sandwich. What time does Emily wake up? 7 o'clock. Where does she go in the afternoon? Market and park. New words: breakfast, afternoon, exercise, relaxing, podcast. After finishing food, Emily and Anna wrote new words in their notebooks. Emily wrote breakfast, afternoon, exercise, relaxing, podcast, sandwich, cake, drink, meal. She also said simple sentences. I eat breakfast in the morning. I go to the park in the afternoon. I like exercise because it is relaxing. I listen to a podcast every day. Writing and repeating sentences helped Emily remember the words and practice speaking. Emily thought quietly, talking with friends helps me practice English naturally. I can ask and answer questions. Step by step, my English improves. She smiled and felt happy. Tip: meeting a friend and speaking English is very helpful. Ask about daily routines, hobbies, or activities. Speak slowly, repeat new words, and write sentences. Practicing with a friend makes learning fun and natural. After the cafe, Emily planned a short city trip. She wanted to visit the museum, walk around the main street, and enjoy the city. She packed a small bag, put on comfortable shoes, and said quietly, "This is a perfect chance to practice English. I will ask for directions politely. Step by step, I will become more confident." Emily walked down the street and saw a man standing at a corner. She smiled and said slowly, "Hello, excuse me. Can you help me, please? I want to go to the museum." The man smiled and said, "Yes, of course. Go straight for 2 blocks, then turn left. The museum is next to the park." Emily repeated slowly, "Go straight 2 blocks, turn left, next to the park." "Thank you very much." The man said, "You're welcome. Enjoy your visit." Emily walked carefully, remembering the directions. She said quietly, "Asking for directions is a good way to practice English. Hello. Excuse me. Please. Thank you. Step by step, I will become more confident." She walked straight for 2 blocks, turned left, and saw the museum next to a small park. She said slowly, "Museum next to park." "I found it." Emily entered the museum. A woman at the entrance said, "Hello, welcome to the museum. Would you like a map?" Emily replied slowly, "Yes, please. Thank you." The woman handed her a map and said, "You are welcome. Enjoy your visit." Emily looked at the map quietly and said, Map. Museum visit. I can see the rooms and exhibits. While exploring, Emily met another visitor. The visitor smiled and said, Hello, is this your first time visiting? Emily said slowly, Yes, it is my first time. I am learning English and visiting new places. The visitor said, That's wonderful. I hope you enjoy the museum. Emily smiled and said slowly, Thank you very much. I will enjoy it. Emily noticed many exhibits, paintings, sculptures, and photographs. She said quietly, Painting, sculpture, photograph, art, beautiful. She wrote these words in her notebook and repeated them aloud. Repeating words aloud helps me remember and speak English better. After exploring for some time, Emily wanted to ask about the exit. She saw a staff member and said slowly, Hello, excuse me. Can you tell me where the exit is, please? Emily walked to the city library. The building was big with tall windows and a quiet entrance. She smiled and thought quietly, This is a great chance to practice English. I can ask questions, find books, and speak politely. Emily entered the library and saw a staff member at the front desk. The staff member smiled and said, Hello, welcome to the library. Can I help you? Emily felt a little nervous, but remembered her practice. She smiled and said slowly, Hello, my name is Emily. I am learning English. Can you help me find some books, please? The staff member nodded and said, Of course. What type of books are you looking for? Emily thought for a moment and said slowly, I want books to learn English. I also like short stories and easy reading books. The staff member smiled and said, Very good. We have a special section for English learning books. Follow me, please. Emily walked carefully and said quietly, English learning, short stories, easy reading. I can find them at the English section. Emily saw many books on shelves. She said slowly, Book, English, learn, story, easy, interesting. She picked up a small book and opened it. The sentences were simple, and she could understand most words. She said quietly, This is good. I can read and practice speaking. Then Emily asked the staff member slowly, Excuse me, can you recommend a short story for beginners? The staff member smiled and said, Yes, this book is very popular for beginners. It has short chapters and simple sentences. Emily replied slowly, Thank you very much. I will try it. She sat at a small table, opened the book, and read slowly. Once upon a time, there was a small village. People were friendly and kind. They helped each other every day. She repeated the sentences slowly aloud. Once upon a time, small village, friendly, kind, helped each other every day. New words from Emily's library visit. Library, a place with books for reading or borrowing. Repeat. Library. Staff, a person who works in a place like a library. Repeat. Staff. Book, something you read to learn or enjoy. Repeat. Book. Short story, a small story with a few pages. Repeat. Short story. Beginner, a person who is new to something. Repeat. Beginner. After reading a short story, Emily wanted to ask more questions. She said slowly, Excuse me, where can I find books about animals? The staff member smiled and said, Those books are in aisle 5 on the right side. Emily repeated slowly, Aisle 5, right side. Thank you very much. She walked carefully to aisle 5 and looked at the books. She said quietly, Animals, books, read, learn, interesting. She picked a small book about cats and read a few sentences aloud. Cats are small animals. They like to play and sleep. People love cats. Emily repeated slowly, Cats are small animals. They like to play and sleep. People love cats. After reading in the library, Emily wanted to practice borrowing books. She said slowly, "Hello, can I borrow this book, please?" The staff member smiled and said, "Yes, you can borrow it for 2 weeks. Please show your library card." Emily replied slowly, "Thank you very much. Here is my card." She received the card back and said quietly, "Borrow, library, card, 2 weeks. Thank you very much." Now let's practice a short conversation from Emily's library visit. Repeat slowly after me. "Hello. Can you help me find some books, please? I want books to learn English. Can you recommend a short story for beginners? Can I borrow this book, please?" While Emily read and borrowed books, she practiced simple sentences quietly. I read a book every day. I learn new words. I practice speaking slowly. I ask questions politely. Libraries are very helpful. Repeating sentences aloud helped her remember new words and practice speaking naturally. Comprehension check. Where did Emily go today? Library. Who helped Emily find books? Staff member. What type of books did Emily want? English learning books and short stories. Where are the books about animals? Aisle 5 on the right side. After finishing her library visit, Emily sat at a small table and wrote new words in her notebook: library, staff, book, short story, beginner, aisle, borrow, card. She repeated sentences slowly. I read a book every day. I borrow books from the library. I asked questions politely. Repeating sentences helped her improve speaking and listening skills. Emily thought quietly, libraries are very useful for learning English. I can read, ask questions, borrow books, and practice speaking. Step by step, I am improving my English. She smiled, feeling proud and motivated. Tip for friends: visiting a library is a great way to practice English. You can ask questions politely, read books, repeat sentences aloud, write new words in your notebook, speak naturally. Step by step, libraries help improve listening, speaking, and reading skills. Review of everything Emily did at the library. Greeted staff politely. Asked for help. Found English learning and short story books. Borrowed books. Repeated sentences aloud. Wrote new words in her notebook. Spoke slowly and clearly. Felt confident. Today, we also review all the new words Emily learned. From the park and first conversation: friend, pet, play, walk, happy, nervous, hobby, ice cream. From the English club: forest, rabbit, squirrel, wing, pickup, bed, water, food, fly, happy. From shopping for clothes: shirt, pants, size, small, medium, large, scarf, color, price, money. From cafe conversation: breakfast, afternoon, exercise, relaxing, podcast, sandwich, cake, drink, meal. From city trip and museum visit: museum, map, exhibit, painting, sculpture, photograph, exit, directions, street, blocks, turn left, turn right. From library visit: library, staff, book, short story, beginner, borrow, card, read, study. Now, friends, let's review some key sentences Emily practiced. Hello, my name is Emily. I am learning English. Can you help me, please? I would like a cup of tea, please. Step by step, Emily practiced speaking, listening, reading, and writing in real life. She felt proud and confident. Every small action helped her improve English naturally. Emily smiled quietly and thought about everything she learned. She said slowly, listening carefully helps me understand new words. Repeating sentences aloud helps me speak slowly and clearly. Writing words in my notebook helps me remember. Asking questions politely makes me confident. Step by step, I can speak English naturally. Important tip for friends: practice every day. Even 10 minutes of listening, repeating, or reading is very helpful. Speak slowly. Repeat words. Write sentences. Listen carefully. Do not worry if you make mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Be patient and keep practicing. Emily remembered all the little tips she learned in every situation. At the park, practice simple greetings and talking about hobbies. At the English club, listen to a story, repeat sentences, and ask questions. Shopping, ask about size, color, and price. Cafe conversations, talk about daily routines. City trips, ask for directions. Library, ask for books, read, and borrow. All these steps together helped her improve naturally. Emily wrote a short reflection in her notebook. Every day I practice English. I listen, speak, repeat, write, and read. I speak politely and slowly. I ask questions and enjoy learning. English is fun, and I am improving every day. She smiled and said slowly, step by step, I can speak English naturally. I am proud of my journey. Motivational practice sentences for friends. I can learn English step by step. Listening carefully helps me understand new words. Speaking slowly and politely helps me communicate. Every mistake is a chance to learn. I will practice every day and improve. Emily felt happy and confident. She realized learning English is not only about speaking perfectly. It is about listening, practicing, asking questions, and enjoying the journey. Step by step, every new word, sentence, and conversation makes a difference. Finally, Emily smiled in her mind and said slowly, thank you for practicing English with me. You are doing very well. Keep listening, speaking, repeating, writing, and learning. Step by step, you will improve. English is fun, and you can do it. Summary of Emily's English journey. Greetings and talking about hobbies. Visiting the park and making friends. Joining an English club. Shopping for clothes and asking politely. Cafe conversations with a friend. City trips and asking for directions. Museum visits and exploring exhibits. Library visits, reading and borrowing books. Repeating sentences and reviewing vocabulary. Step by step, Emily practiced listening, speaking, reading, and writing in real life. Every small action helped her improve naturally. Final tip for friends: practice every day. Speak slowly. Repeat words and sentences. Write new words in your notebook. Ask questions politely. Enjoy learning English step by step. Thank you for practicing with Emily today. You are doing very well. Keep practicing, and step by step, your English will improve.